welcome to a new video. My name is Emma, and today we are doing a little series that I like to call Watch a Criterion Collection with me. Last month I did one where I watched a bunch of Paul Thomas Anderson's movies that had come to the Criterion channel. And for this month, I actually put up a poll on my community tab page on my YouTube profile, and I asked which Criterion collection you would like to watch with me for the month of September. And Giallo, is that how you say it? Giallo won with over 50% of the vote. Okay, taste. So I think first we need to learn how to pronounce this correctly. So I have this up on Google.
That L and make it twice as long, at least in Italian. Giallo, giallo is how you say twice as long, at least in Italian. Giallo, giallo is how...
Giallo, giallo. It's Italian for yellow. And I've pulled up the little Wikipedia page as well so that I can give like a tiny little synopsis of what giallo films are. So I'm gonna read right off the Wikipedia, okay? It says, in Italian cinema, giallo, which means yellow, is a genre of murder mystery fiction that often contains slasher, thriller, psychological horror, psychological thriller, sexploitation, and less frequently, supernatural horror elements. It says it often involves a mysterious killer whose identity is not revealed until the final act of the film. The genre developed in the mid to late 1960s, peaked in popularity during the 1970s, and then declined throughout the next few decades. It says that, however, it seemed to have a significant influence on genres that came about later, just like the American slasher film genre, which is pretty cool. Giallo, giallo, giallo. Oh, you guys see my Halloween cupcakes? Yeah, I can't frost very well. It's okay. They're also a little underdone, honestly, and I had to make them with what's it called, Greek yogurt instead of eggs, so they're like a little extra fudgy, but they definitely could have been cooked for like 2 to 3 more minutes and been like extra perfect, but yeah, that's okay. Okay, so inside this Criterion collection, the Giallo Criterion collection, there are 13 films. I have seen 1, 2, 3, 4 of them. I have seen Blood and Black Lace, Don't Torture a Duckling, Deep Red, and Tenebre. So I have seen those. I did go through a Dario Argento phase for a couple months, like years back, and I watched a bunch of his films. They're great, super fun. I'm really excited to get back into this genre, especially to kind of start from the beginning, which is what I'm doing. I have listed them all from release date order, so I'm going to be watching all 13 of these films from oldest to newest. So that's from Blood and Black Lace is from 1964, and then we'll end it with Tenebre, which is from 1982. So like, you know, a 2-decade span of Italian horror films. That sounds so fun. I can't wait to get into this challenge, honestly. Hi, coming back to film this clip because I did not tell you guys what the 13 films are. I don't know what was wrong with me. So I'm gonna read them off to you, and then please do remember that I put timestamps down below. So if you wanna skip to see like a certain film, see my thoughts on a certain film, whatever it be, you can use the timestamps to skip to that film. Pick your favorites or just watch all the way through. However you wanna watch this video, it's up to you. But the movies that I will be watching in this Giallo Watch a Criterion collection with me, it's going to be Blood and Black Lace, The Evil Eye, The Bird with the Crystal Plumage, In the Folds of the Flesh, Death Walks at Midnight, Don't Torture a Duckling, Who Saw Her Die, All the Colors of the Dark, Torso, What Have They Done to Your Daughters, Deep Red, Strip Nude for Your Killer, and Tenebre is the last one. Okay, so that is 13 films in total, and I added it up all together. All these movies come out to 1,271 minutes, which divided by 60 equals out to 21 hours. So I will be watching giallo horror films for 21 hours straight. Let's go, I'm so excited. There are 2 things that I want to show you real quick before we get into this. First of all, do you like my little ghosty friend? He's so cute, got him from Target. Second of all, I have my first giallo horror from Little Cinephile. I have a couple of these books. You can see them right there. How do you point, Emma? Right there, that's how you point, okay. And I thought that it would be cute if we read this together so that you can know what you're getting yourself into, so you can kind of know what the premise of these movies are going to be. I have not looked at this in a long time, actually. I don't know what's in it, but I thought that we would read it together. So my first giallo horror. Lurid thrillers, leather gloves. Profondo Rosso, Bay of Blood. Garish fashions, murder mysteries. Haunted memories, morbid histories. Sharpened knives, shocking scenes. Evil eyes, POV. Piercing screams, psychic dreams. Phantasmagoric hues, elaborate set pieces. Telekinesis, she gave you all the clues. And that's the end. Okay, so that's really cool. This is what we're getting ourselves into. All right, I'm so excited. This just kind of pumped me up to a whole nother level. I'm so much more excited to watch these movies now. The first one we will be starting with is Blood and Black Lace. This is from 1964. It is directed by Mario Bava. And I don't think that there's anything else I want to say until I have more to say about the films, obviously. Definitely thank you to everyone who voted in that poll. I'll be doing that way more often as well, so look out for that. Definitely keep an eye on my community tab. Check on my YouTube page frequently to see if there's anything new, I would say. And yeah, I think that's it. Without further ado, watch a Criterion Collection with me. Let's start. This is so loud, hold on. I've got my pumpkin spiced gongcha milk tea. I'm watching a spooky slasher and my autumn candle is on. Yeah, the fall vibes are vibing right now. Okay, so I just finished Blood and Black Lace. Okay, so I have seen this movie before, so this was a rewatch and I really enjoyed it a lot more this time around. I think I'm gonna even bump up my star rating a little bit for it because I give it 4 stars. It's kind of ranging in the 4.5 category. Definitely 4 stars is very fair for it, but I really enjoyed it more this time around. So what this one is about, there's a haute couture clothing shop, dress shop, salon kind of thing going on. It is run by this woman and this man kind of. I guess that they both kind of run it, but she's definitely like the face of it. Anyway, one of her girls, one of the models for the dress shop, she turns up dead. At first it's like, oh no, she's dead. What this is crazy. No, you know, it's a murder. Like, what happened to her? All of the other models are very scared. The owner is very scared. But then one of the models finds her diary. She's just like kind of looking through her stuff, I believe, and she finds the dead girl's diary. And everyone kind of turns their head. You know, everyone has a double take with this diary because apparently she had a lot of secrets. She was holding a lot of the people within the dress shop, that whole world. She was like holding a lot of their secrets, and likely she had written them down in the diary. So not only does this up the ante for like who could the murderer be, like the murderer could be any of these women, it could be any of these men, like anyone could have done something bad to her or wronged her in some way, and it could be written in the diary that could point the police to that person, right? But it also complicates things because one girl has the diary, you know, she found the diary, she's like, I'm gonna turn it into the police. But then this gives the killer a reason to go after the girl. So suddenly there are more murders happening as the diary is being passed around from person to person, because obviously the murderer doesn't want people to read the diary because they could link it back to the murder, right? Okay, so it was definitely like really fun. Like the coloring scheme was amazing. I feel like all of these is going to be really impressive for cinematography and everything. Okay, I wrote down my favorite bits from the movie. I said this movie has everything. It has mannequins, a bookshelf that turns around to reveal a hidden passageway, plenty of purple lighting reflecting onto our players' faces, and also a bright red telephone. One of the most charming aspects of giallo films is that the dialogue, it's spoken in English, but then also dubbed over in English. After some time, you get used to it sounding and looking like the voices are out of place, but sometimes it does mess up.
An alibi, the Marquis has confirmed it.
It's true. We were together.
Oh, don't worry. I haven't forgotten it. You both were in his house till 11 o'clock.
Also, the captions have never been accurate in my experience of watching these kind of films, which is so interesting because they are mouthing and then dubbing the words that we see them say. So I don't know why the captions would be different. Like, you get what I'm saying?
How are we supposed to keep calm? Doesn't what's happening bother you? I'm frightened too. Don't think I'm not. But getting hysterical doesn't help.
Which is so funny because they're clearly mouthing / saying the words that we hear over in the English dub. So I don't understand why the captions tend to be something different. Like, they're saying the right thing and the same thing, they're just going about a different way to say it. So the reason that I've been able to find as to why Italian films back then especially, all of them were dubbed. That was just like the thing, that was the niche, that was the genre, and that's because Italian films back in the day were filmed with no sound. So that's why all the background noises, the special effects, the sound effects, and all of the dialogue sound the way that they sound. It all sounds dubbed over. It all sounds like it was added into the film after it was filmed. It becomes charming. I don't know, like, you really do get used to it. I know when I first watched it, this is so weird, I can't handle this. But as someone who's seen a couple now at this point, I definitely appreciate it a lot, and I think it's just like, it's fun. It's part of the genre. Okay, yeah, Blood and Black Lace was really good. Definitely a great way to start. The next one, because we're going in chronological order, I have The Evil Eye / The Girl Who Knew Too Much. This is from 1963. This one is also directed by Mario Bava, who just did the last one that we watched. So what I gathered is that with this movie, the United States edition, like the United States cut, it's called The Evil Eye instead of The Girl Who Knew Too Much, and there's like 6 extra minutes of added footage to the film. I don't know why. I don't know why they added extra footage. I don't know why they changed the name as well. Like, if you want to add 6 extra minutes to the film because you feel like it's gonna give more clarity to the audience, I'm not gonna hate you for it. I definitely do appreciate watching the original cut though, and I think that on Criterion it is the US cut, but I don't understand why changing the name. That is definitely really confusing to me because even when you look it up into Letterboxd, it's not the first thing that comes up. It's not called The Girl Who Knew Too Much / The Evil Eye. It's just put down as The Girl Who Knew Too Much. So it makes things way more confusing. I don't know why the United States decided to do that, but they did. And yeah, I'm excited to get into it. Okay, let's go watch our second video. If this is the only one in the collection that's black and white. I wonder. I am feeling rather parched, so I thought that I would try this new drink that I got. It's very fall coated. I got it from Target. It's the sparkling water brand Waterloo, and it's flavored spiced apple. That sounds really good. I think that hopefully it's like actually spiced, like a lot of cinnamon or something. Why did that go everywhere? Oh my god. Okay. Oh, that's good. Yeah. Oh my gosh. If you're a spiced apple girly, yeah, you will love it.
Has to date evolved in young women, killed in alphabetical order. A, B, and today. Would you defy and envy me? Would you even try to cut the trust? You must be exhausted.
Here with a late night update for you. I just got back from seeing The Substance, by the way. That movie was made for horror fans. If you are a horror fan, The Substance might be the best movie that you'll see this year. So I finished The Evil Eye / The Girl Who Knew Too Much. This is the second movie in this challenge. Basically, this one is about a girl who is an avid mystery and murder story reader. She visits Rome and hallucinates a murder that actually happened years ago. This murder was in connection with a series of murders called the ABC murders, where like the first girl who died, her last name started with an A, then the next started with a B, C, and then our main girl here, her last name starts with a D. So it's kind of like the murderer is coming back to finish what he or she started. Her house keeps getting broken into, things keep moving, things are stolen. It's very, there's a man who's like following her the whole movie. It had a lot of good vibes to it, okay? Very spooky, very stalkerish. This movie also has the first cat sighting. Cats are definitely very big in giallo films. Lots of them have a cat, feature a cat is on the cover, it's not anything like that. And this is the first one of the collection if you go in, you know, release date order, so that's super fun. The second movie in a row to mention Sex Maniac. Another really interesting thing that I read online about Italian movies being dubbed is that they wanted their movies to be in English so that Americans would watch them and appreciate them. They must have heard about the trouble we have with subtitles. Because Hollywood was such a big deal and America had all the award shows too, so of course they wanted to like curate their cinema to, you know, the best of the best at the time. A lot of the Italian actors had really harsh accents or could not speak the language well at all, so sometimes they would get Americans or just people who speak English really well to do, you know, the dub. So it's not always the actor who was saying the lines once they had filmed it. So like on one hand, you could have an Italian actor who filmed and said the lines, and then they went back to do the dub, like the redub of the lines. But then in other cases, it's the Italian actor who is on stage mouthing the lines, but then an American comes in and dubs the dialogue for them. Overall, this one was fun. I would definitely say like a 3.5, maybe a 4-star kind of feel. This one definitely had almost kind of a paranormal feel to it. Like it feels like that at some point in the beginning. And there is another point in the story, which is kind of like the plot twist, that was very similar to the last one that we saw, the first one. So the last two, the plot twists have kind of been the same. And I wonder how many of these movies will replicate that. I'm not going to give a spoiler here. Maybe I'll talk about it later on in the video if it is a reoccurring theme that I see. I think it's very interesting and not something that I expected, even though I've seen like Blood and Black Lace before. I don't know, seeing another movie with the same kind of plot twist. I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's watch more movies and see how they compare. Speaking of which, the next one I have is The Bird with the Crystal Plumage from 1970. This is by Dario Argento. This is the first Dario Argento in this challenge. I don't think there are many. I think it's literally that one in Tenebre. Oh, and Deep Red. Okay, so he has 3 on this. He's kind of like the godfather of giallo films. He's definitely the director I've seen the most of out of any of these Italian boys. Yes, correct, I have not seen this one. This is also the first one that came out in the 1970s for this challenge. I'm really excited to get into it. I'm gonna stop yapping and watch it right now. We are watching from the laptop from bed because it is nighttime and dark and I'm ready to be in bed.
I want photographs, criminal records, all the particulars you can dig out for me. Right, get going. Oh, and one other thing. I want 2 of our top men detailed to cover the 2 behind me. They are to be watched day and night.
Okay, I just finished The Bird with the Crystal Plumage by Dario Argento, the grandfather of giallo films. Okay, I mentioned earlier that this was Dario Argento's first film in this whole collection. I was like, oh, like this is the earliest one, blah, blah, blah. I didn't know this was his debut feature. That is crazy. His directorial debut feature was The Bird with the Crystal Plumage. Just found that out. What an amazing job he did. Oh my gosh. It looks like a lot of people tend to consider The Bird with the Crystal Plumage like the very first giallo film of all time, like, you know, the first one that started it, but then they considered Blood and Black Lace and The Evil Eye / The Girl Who Knew Too Much as kind of like, they were made before the genre was really a thing, right? So they're definitely added into that whole group. But anyway, The Bird with the Crystal Plumage, I have a lot to say. Okay, we have our second cat sighting. One of the characters in this movie has a cat and the cat is like getting into something and he picks up the cat and he's like, naughty Theodore, and he takes the cat and like puts the cat away. That's all we see of naughty Theodore, but it's still a cat sighting nonetheless. So that's 2 out of 3 movies so far that we've had a cat sighting in. I loved Sam and Julia's apartment. If I'm able to get some images, I will definitely put them up because it was very inspirational, iconic. I really loved how the furniture was set up. They had so many cool posters all over the wall, especially for 1970. Like, I really appreciated their apartment. Architecture in the whole movie was great because there's another house that is an important piece of work in the movie, and the architecture in that house was definitely very up upscale. They have like a whole like iron statue in it. There is a lot of like iron statues throughout. The vibes were definitely there. Okay, I really enjoyed the architecture. Okay, so I'm gonna give a non-spoilery synopsis real fast. So this man named Sam, he kind of looks out the window and witnesses a murder happening. It's not like they're direct neighbors, but I think that the house is pretty close to where him and his girlfriend slash wife Julia live. And he witnesses a murder, like an attempted homicide, right? This woman is like falling over the stairs and it's very dramatic, and this man like runs away. And so he goes to help her and everything, and then as he is trying to kind of just get on with his life, it looks like the murderer, the person who attempted to murder this woman, is kind of stalking him. Okay, so he's being followed, he knows it, and the person starts to like send him clues and like call him, and it's very like mysterious, very fun. Like, definitely to consider this the beginning of a genre. I totally would support that. It was everything that you'd want in one of these murder mystery Italian films, you know? I'm gonna get into spoilers, okay? What I'm about to say right now does spoil the ending of the last two movies that I watched and the end of this movie. So if you have not watched any of these movies and you don't want to know the spoilers that I'm about to say, please skip forward to this timestamp, okay? If you have seen these movies, definitely, okay, we need to talk about it, because here is what I was talking about at the end of the other two movies. So basically the plot twist in all these movies, what all these movies have in common is that the bad guy, okay, when they finally Scooby-Doo it and take the mask off the bad guy, it's been a woman each time. So we've had this masked figure, usually with an overcoat and a hat and like a total mask over the face, has been doing all these killings and calling people and being suspicious and breaking into people's houses. It's been a woman each time, okay? Literally 3 for 3, this has been the plot twist. That is crazy. I wonder if this is a theme. Like, I wonder if we're gonna see this so much more often in the rest of these movies. And I can't even tell you the other giallo films that I've seen. Like, I don't remember this being a theme, but that doesn't mean that it's not. So I'm excited to see how that goes. I wonder if it's going to start to get like a little grating, maybe like just, you know, doing the same thing over and over. I wonder though if as time goes on, these directors will be able to keep up with it and give us little surprises here and there, like maybe it's 2 women working together, you know, if you're gonna make it a woman going forward every time. So the spoiler for the end of this movie, which I thought the plot twist was really good because I did not see it coming whatsoever. Basically, so in the beginning of the movie, right, our main character, Sam, he had seen this woman attempted to be murdered, like attempted homicide, right? Like he sees her be stabbed and she's like falling off the awning, going down the stairs, and then this man in like an overcoat runs out, right? Well, what had happened was she got stabbed in self-defense. She was trying to kill her husband and he stabbed her in self-defense, and that's what he saw. So he saw the attempted homicide, sure, but it turns out that this woman was, you know, the crazy one who was going on this homicidal spree and who's messing with our main character the whole time. That plot twist, like, it blew my mind. I did not expect her to be the murderer the whole time and that the husband was trying to kill her in self-defense. Here's another thing. So with the 3 for 3 movies being that the plot twist is that a woman was the killer the whole time, and usually, like, you know, the most unsuspecting woman or the main character has been the bad guy kind of the whole time. Like, that was kind of the story with Blood and Black Lace. I wonder how the directors are going to navigate that, because if it's going to continuously be this oh, you know, the woman was crazy the whole time, she belongs in a mental institution, like that over and over again, I can see to reiterate that plot point and that plot twist over time. I don't know, it's definitely going to be annoying after some point, so I really am interested in seeing how the rest of these guys are going to navigate that. And it looks like the next one that I have to watch is going to be In the Folds of the Flesh from 1970, directed by Sergio Bergonzelli. Yeah, it doesn't have a high rating on Goodreads, girl. It doesn't have a high rating on Letterboxd, but it's okay. I'm definitely excited to get into it, see what's gonna happen, watch another murder mystery. Definitely the vibes are super fun. Okay, it's chilly outside and I'm watching a bunch of Italian people run around, murder people. It's fun. Okay, I'm having a great time. So yeah, I'm gonna watch In the Folds of the Flesh and I will be back with an update. Is that John Travolta?
Here's to you, Andre.
Oh. That was depressing. Okay, hopefully you guys aren't sick of this little setup right here. Since, okay, this is the 4th film, there's 13. I think after this one, I'll sit somewhere else, change up the scenery a little bit for you. Okay, so I just finished In the Folds of the Flesh. Literally kind of terrifying. Probably the most disturbing one I've seen so far. I'm not gonna give spoilers, but yeah, a lot happens in this one for sure. So we kind of start off with a murder right away. Basically what we see happening is a woman burying her second husband, and her children are like scared inside the house. There's also a man who notices this woman burying her husband, and this man is on the run. He just escaped from prison. So like she's burying him, and suddenly she hears police sirens. She's like, oh my God, what? Like, I just started doing this, like what's going on? But the police are obviously, they're looking for this man who just escaped from prison, right? So he gets found and he spends another 13 years in jail. While he's in jail, he knows that this woman, you know, it looks like she killed her husband, so he like kept quiet about that. He wasn't gonna put her on about that, but he spends an additional 13 years in prison. I don't remember if they pinned the murder on him or like what the significance is, but basically 13 years later he comes back to get revenge. Along the way there are a lot of other people who die because basically the family is a family of murderers. There's so much in this movie. There's like, at one point we get flashbacks to like a very unsettling gas chamber scene from, you know, the war. Okay, there is a lot of in this movie. Okay, we have some great scenery. There's burying a body at dawn. There's misty castles. The ambiance was definitely there. There's one death that is very clever, I will share. I had fun with it a lot. Basically what happens throughout the first like hour of the movie is that a lot of people keep breaking into the house to like cause trouble, and the family like kind of just shows that they are all not above murdering someone to keep each other safe. And one of the murders that they do, one of the kills, is one character declares that they are going to take a bath, and so they're in the bath and someone gives another character cyanide pills. There's a cuckoo clock right above the bathtub, and they put the cyanide pills right in front of the cuckoo, and then when the hour strikes, the cuckoo comes out and it pushes the cyanide pills into the bathtub. Masterpiece, cinematic masterpiece. I had so much fun with that kill. I will not speak to how accurate that works or how accurate that is, but I know that I had fun with it. Yeah, I was disturbed, I was unsettled by this one. I'm definitely gonna give it a lower rating because, oh, another thing, okay, it was literally Whiplash City. Like, I felt like I was watching Wild Things, which if you know, you know. That is an ending that goes back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. That's how I felt with this one. Like, literally people kept popping up declaring that they were other members of the family. Like, it was it was crazy, like crazy town. Like, everyone was low-key playing a different character. It went over my head. Like, it definitely went over my head. You'd have to sit down with this movie with like a pen and paper and write down people's names and like what they look like, and then who else comes in, like whoever they claim. Like, it's a lot of spider webbiness. Definitely really confusing for just a casual viewer or someone who's just watching it for the first time for fun. Yeah, I think it's gonna get a lower grade, like a 2.5 to a 3, because on top of that it was very disturbing and I wasn't like having fun with it at all. One kill was fun, and that's not enough to, yeah. I think that's all I have to say for In the Folds of the Flesh. The next one I have to watch is going to be Death Walks at Midnight from 1972. This is directed by Luciano Ercoli, and I don't know anything about it. I've never seen it, so I'm just gonna hop right into it. See you in a minute. Okay, I wanted to have another one of these spiced apple sparkling waters because they were so good yesterday. Literally, I picked it up and it fell out of my hands, dropped on the floor, spun around on the floor. I'm not gonna throw it away. I'm not done. I am still gonna open it, and I was told a trick is that you tap it and then you spin it around, and this is supposed to settle it down, and then you open it like immediately, like really fast. Okay, that was fine. That was fine. All that drama for nothing. It's so good.
For
Houston, we have a little problem. It's not serious because I know how to read, but there's no English dub version of this, at least on the Criterion. So we will be watching this one the way the Italian gods intended, which is in Italian. Is that Italia? Italian? I love seeing Italians in their element. Bro, what the heck? He's doing that right in front of these kids. Like, no eye gear, girl, stop it. Hey, so I just finished Death Walks at Midnight. This is again from 1972, directed by Luciano Ercoli. This one is interesting because it is actually the first fully Italian spoken giallo film. All of the others, of course, have been dubbed over with English and they were like spoken in English. This one actually is just like straight up spoken in Italian and no dub required. That's really interesting. I didn't think that I'd have one of those in this list, but there was one. Maybe there will be more, I don't know. Basically, the story of this one, it has a really good premise. I really liked the effect of the murder. So what happens is we have our main girly. She is a model slash actress, and she is doing an interview with a man who asks if she wants to take a drug before going on the interview, and she agrees. It's like a hallucinogen, and she takes the drug, and he's like taking pictures of her, and she's like, like she's all drugged, you know, and she's just like, I don't know. That was like the point of it, is to see like how she would photograph under the influence of the drug. While he's interviewing her and taking pictures of her, however, she starts having a hallucination of a woman being murdered by a man who has an iron claw, which is badass, which is pretty cool. Okay, I was really excited to see a cool murder weapon finally, because we've only ever had like knives. Like that's kind of been the only murder weapon, maybe a gun, but like this was like literally a glove that was flat right here, and then it had spikes. I'll put up a picture for sure. So she sees a woman being murdered with this spiked glove, okay? And so she's obviously like under the influence of this drug, and she starts freaking out and everything because she's seeing this in her mind. So the interview comes out and it kind of backfires on her a little bit because she's under the influence of the drug. It's mentioned in the interview that she is, and in the interview it also mentions that she was seeing this murder happen. So people are kind of like playing it up and like making fun of her a little bit. The article, like, it was not good publicity for her basically. But while she's like walking around, you know, kind of regretting her decision to take this drug and do this interview, she's like, what did I see? Like, I swear it was real, but like also I know I was under the drug and everything. She sees the man who was the murderer. He has a very distinct look to him, big glasses, overcoat, short hair, very tan face, and she sees him, and so she's like, oh my god, that's the murderer. What I saw was not fake. Okay, so we go through this whole duck and goose chase, the whole movie, okay, of her seeing the murderer, trying to tell police about it, trying to tell her boyfriend about it, trying to get people to believe her. Honestly, no one really does believe her. She gets wrapped up in the mystery, she gets wrapped up in the police investigation. There are so many characters in this movie. So many men are just like literally bothering her the whole movie. Like, I swear she's just trying to run away from a man every 5 minutes in this movie because she's a celebrity, sure, but she has like a boyfriend, and then a guy who's not her boyfriend but who actually looks out for her, and then she's got like her manager, she's got the police chief, she's got these other guys that are following her. Like, literally there's honestly like 10 to 12 different men in this movie that are constantly bothering her and constantly following her around, either trying to kill her because she saw this murder happen, and there's this man who she saw be the murderer who has been like gallivanting around town. It's honestly kind of very convoluted. And once we get to the end though, I was shocked. I was very surprised. Okay, there is a betrayal that happens that I did not see coming. Like, literally my jaw was dropped, okay, when I saw that. So no spoilers or anything like that. I literally only had 2 notes, okay, other than these men are just bothering her the whole time. That was my first note. My second note is that there is a cat in this one, but it is a cat. So that's sad. And then my other note was about near the end, okay, so like I said, there's many men in this movie that are just like following her around. either because they like her or they don't like her, they're trying to kill her, or they're trying to save her. So kind of near the end of the movie, this isn't really a spoiler, it's just something that I wanted to touch on because I thought it was really, really stupid. She comes into her apartment. There is a man who has been murdered. He's in her apartment. And there are two men who are murderers that are in her apartment as well. Their plan is to pin the murder of the man that's in her apartment on her, right? So she sees this dead man and she's like, no, oh my gosh, no. And they kind of like tackle her to the floor. They pick her up and he's got a knife in his chest, and they take her hand and put it around the handle of the knife, and they're like, ah, fingerprints, like saying they're gonna like put her fingerprints on the knife so it looks like she stabbed him. I think they even take the knife out and like have her stab him a couple more times. So they're trying to pin the murder on her. And then they decide to get rid of her. Like, they need to get rid of her, obviously. So they're like, we're going to plan it to where it looks like you murdered him and then you offed yourself, okay? So what they do is they tie her hands behind her back. They stuff her mouth with like cotton, a piece of clothing, I don't know. And then they decide to hang her, okay? So literally the dumbest criminals of all time, because you're trying to say that she killed herself. So you're trying to say that she tied her hands behind her back. Maybe she put the cloth in her mouth first. So she gags herself first. Sure, okay. That's how she wants to go out. Real smart. And then she ties her hands behind her back, and then she steps up onto a stool and hangs herself. Like, how? With her hands behind her back? How did she? I don't know. It was really, really stupid. It was like a lot. Like, they were doing the most when they could have just, I don't know, like made it look like a murder-suicide with like a gun. Like, it could have been very easy to make this murder look the way that they wanted it to look, and they did not succeed in it. Anyway, yeah, there's a really big betrayal in the movie that I thought was done very well, and other than that, the vibes were there. It was the most Italian movie of all time. Maybe I'll put up some pictures of the costumes because some of these bad guys looked very funny, very good, very goofy, very giallo. I think I'm just gonna go into the next one. So the next one we have is Don't Torture a Duckling. This is from 1972. It's directed by Lucio Fulci. Hopefully that's how you say it. I have seen this movie before, and I was not impressed with it. I think that I wasn't paying full attention to it, and so I didn't quite grasp the whole movie. I just remember being kind of like, meh, about it, but I know that it's like really beloved, really, a lot of people like it. I think that it's one of the more popular giallo movies. So I'm excited to see how my rewatch goes of it for sure. And I think that the cover is really cool. I really like the cover of Don't Torture a Duckling, and I think the title is even really cool. I don't know where we're going. I don't remember the synopsis. I don't remember anything about it. Yeah, that's gonna be the next one in the video. Oh my god, I just finished Don't Torture a Duckling. Does anyone remember these candies? Okay, like maybe your grandma had them or something, or an auntie, or I don't know. They're now called scripture candy, and that was definitely not the name when I was a kid. I just put one in and I didn't think about it. I'm gonna film, so I'm sorry if it's distracting. It's okay. I'll have chubby cheeks for a minute. It's fine. So I have seen Don't Torture a Duckling before, and when I watched it the first time, it didn't hit. Okay, I was literally like, okay, like I just did not appreciate it for what it really was, okay? This time around, I was picking up on some themes, okay? And it's so funny because in the little like quip that's on the criterion that's like under the movie, it's like, oh, like this is what the movie's about, and then it also will give like a little sentence about like either how it affected the culture when people saw it, how it affected theaters, audiences, just anything. And the cool thing that it says here, it says, deemed shocking at the time for its brutal violence, depiction of the Catholic Church, and themes of child murder and pedophiles. Okay, yeah, I was not picking up on that the first time I saw this movie. Let me just make that clear. So I definitely really appreciated this rewatch. Totally was very formative for me to watch this, I think, and for me to like have an overall opinion of giallo films, because this one is deemed like one of the most like horrifying and shocking ones. So basically what's happening is that in this small village in Italy, all the little boys are like getting killed off. Okay, like they are being strangled, they are being drowned, some of them have like a contusion on their head. Like there's just like, they're all going through a lot of really crazy stuff. And throughout the movie, 3 women, they're kind of the main characters, I guess you could say. 3 women are being like super sus the whole movie. So it's like, oh my gosh, which one of these 3 women is it? There's a witch who we see from like the first scene in the movie. she has been creating these little voodoo dolls and then like sticking pins in the voodoo dolls throughout the movie. It's never like confirmed that those voodoo dolls are matched to the right kid that dies because there's no identifying feature on the voodoo dolls, but she has been killing these voodoo dolls and then like little boys are showing up dead, right? So she's definitely suspect number one. And she at some point does admit that the voodoo dolls were for the boys because she had once lost a child and these boys were all playing around the gravesite in which the child was buried. She kind of like curses them and they know that she's a witch and everything, so then she's doing these voodoo dolls. But that's not, maybe she's not quite the person that the police are looking for, okay? The police are like really funny throughout the whole movie as well. They're super useless. There's another woman who from the very beginning of the film, we see her like teasing a young boy. She lives upstairs from him and his mother has asked him to like bring breakfast up to her basically. He goes up there and she's just like lounging naked and he's like, of course, he's like, my voice just cracked just like the 12-year-old boy I'm talking about. He's like 11 or 12 and so you know, he sees this naked like fully grown woman for the first time and he's like, oh my god, and everything. And we see her kind of like flirting a little bit with the younger boys throughout the movie. Definitely very like inappropriate, very creepy and everything, so it's like, oh my gosh, it could be her. Like what if she's like a PDF file, you know? The whole time this movie is going on, more and more boys are falling off, like they're dying, okay? Yeah, it was, I don't want to spoil it because I think that the ending is very satisfying. Like it is a plot twist and I thought that they did it really well. I think that the whole mention of like the Catholic Church and like abuse that can happen in the church like that, it was like interesting, very like real take on it. And it's really interesting because this movie was made what, in like 1972 in Italy, and they're kind of like calling out the Catholic Church. I think it was like very brave of this movie to mention and feature those instances happening in such an early movie. I don't know, like nowadays you see like abuse and other horrors that can happen in the Catholic Church and other churches like put into movies all the time, but definitely in 1970 and in Italy, like I can see why this movie is like kind of low-key banned and just like has a lot of controversy surrounding the themes within it. One thing that like really dates the movie I thought was like interesting and cool, like I'm not like shaming the movie at all for this, but every time one of the boys would die, it would hardly ever be like their body, like they would hardly ever be just like dead. It would literally be like a dummy like in the water, or a dummy being pulled out, or a dummy laying down. And I just thought that was interesting. Like I wonder if they didn't really want to depict the children, because it was real child actors, like being unalived or what, but the dummies were just like funny because they literally looked nothing like the kids. They looked nothing like a real person or anything like that. They were like, you know, they were made in 1972, okay? I'm not imagining this movie had a really high budget either, but it was still just like, it was like funny to see, I won't lie. Anything else I want to say about this? Yeah, I feel like it's iconic because we have sorcery, witchcraft. I don't think it's very gory, but definitely the deaths are like extreme and it's children who are dying. So like it is a very like heavy movie, I would say. I would say definitely Don't Torture a Duckling and Blood and Black Lace have been the best from this series of giallo films that I've seen so far. Next we have Who Saw Her Die. This is also from 1972. It's directed by Aldo Lado. It's only an hour and a half. Hopefully it won't take me long to get into it and get back to you because I want to keep watching more movies, okay? Spooky season is starting, September is ending, and I'm in the mood, okay? So do I have anything else to say? Do we have anything else to say, Ghosty? I don't think so. I'll catch you back at the next clip. Look at this diva. Okay, I just finished Who Saw Her Die. It's my birthday today. I'm gonna try to watch as many of these as I can today because this video needs to get out, but I am like obviously celebrating a little bit today. So yeah, I woke up early this morning because I couldn't sleep, and I decided to sit up and watch Who Saw Her Die. Okay, so I'm gonna spoil this one. If you don't want to know what happens at the end of this movie, if you're like, oh my gosh, I've been waiting my whole life to see this Who Saw Her Die from 1972, and I'm not about to have this girl on YouTube spoil it for me, then like skip, go to the next movie, okay? I probably won't be spoiling it in that one, or at least if I do, I will tell you. But for this one, I'm gonna spoil it because we need to talk about this ending. So first of all, the whole like synopsis of the movie, here's what we're looking at. Right at the beginning, we see a little girl. She's a redhead. She's like hanging out with her mom. They're at like a ski resort. I don't know. We see someone who is wearing women's clothing like grab the girl. Like there's a moment where she's away from her mom. She gets strangled and then she gets buried in the snow, and it's like a redhead girl. And then the very next clip we see, there's another redhead girl, and you're kind of like, wait, like is this the same girl? Like what am I looking at exactly here? It is a different little girl. Basically what is going on is she is visiting her dad. I believe this is set in France. It's Italian, but I believe that they're in France. Like he lives in France for work or something like that, or maybe he's just taking her on a vacation because him and the mother, excuse me, him and the mother are estranged. So like they're not together anymore, and he was just like, let me see my girl, like let me see my kid, you know. So she's like staying with her father in France, I believe. Well, time goes on, you know, they're like hanging out in France. I believe that the mother has also like joined them at some point, like she came down to like see how things were going. Well, time goes on and we find out that the little girl has drowned. We find out that she's face down in the water. Okay, so it's like really sad. The father and the mother suddenly go on this like sleuthing job together, and they want to find out who killed my girl. Like the police are not doing bowl, so we're gonna go find out who killed our girl, right? The whole time throughout the movie, we keep seeing this like netted glove like doing stuff. Like we don't know who this person is, but it's like clearly seemingly a woman. Okay, so there's like, you know, she's wearing like netted gloves, she's got like a hat on and like a cloak, like it looks like an older lady maybe, you know. We get a lot of the killer's POV where it's just like the hand is like holding the knife and it's like coming to you. That we get a lot of the killer POV, but we never see the face. Literally till the very end, we never ever see the face. You're kind of led to believe it's a woman. I'm sure you can tell where I'm going with this. It ends up being a man who is dressed up as a woman. And what his story is basically is that he can't stand redheads. He believes that redheads are whores and that they deserve to die. So where this comes from, we find out in the very like last minutes of the movie, is that his mother was a redhead, and his mother was someone who slept around or someone who sold her body for money. Okay, God forbid. He has like always lived with that. He does not appreciate that. He has like guilt because of his mother's actions. I don't know why. And he's like, I'm gonna kill every redhead that I see. So it's literally him dressed up as a woman. I'm sure to like, I don't know, maybe be able to put himself in places where it wouldn't be wrong for a woman to be seen with a child, right? The problem with this is that it ends up being extremely transphobic. It also ends up being extremely dangerous to transgender people because a lot of people who are transphobic, they try to spread the narrative that people who are trans are these perverts who, because that's another thing about this guy, about this bad guy. He doesn't just kill the redheads, he also assaults them in other ways, okay? So it's like, it just perpetuates this rhetoric that transphobes believe that people who are trans are literally perverts who are just trying to like go to the bathroom with your child. You know what I mean? Like this is the kind of movie that perpetuates that, okay? And I know that there are a lot of movies like this. Like I believe, who is it? Is it Dario Argento or is it Roman Polanski? One of them have a movie, The Apartment. I really hope I'm not messing this up. One of those big boys have a movie where the killer is a man who dresses up as a woman, but he's not like, oh, I feel like a woman, like I feel like I should be a woman, I feel like I was meant to be a woman. He just does it to like get away with crime. And so it just like continuously perpetuates this narrative that transgender people are criminals, or they're trying to hide to become a criminal, or they're perverts, you know? It's just like really harmful rhetoric. I don't appreciate it, I don't condone it. I thought that this movie was good and stylish, but for the fact of it being, it's a man dressed up as a woman to assault little girls, like, I can't get behind that, because I know how damaging that can be to the transgender community, which is a community that I wholeheartedly support. So this is definitely a bad movie just for that. When you put that to the side, when you like think about the crime and the mystery behind it all, it's not even that good. Like, the mystery is not mystery. Like, I feel like, what was it? To Torture a Duckling, that was a good mystery, because we literally had like 3 main girls that everyone is looking at the whole movie. We even kind of get one who kind of admits to the crime, but then turns out she's not actually the one doing the crime. So it's like, that was actually a good mystery. For this one, Who Saw Her Die, the mystery isn't even like good enough to be like, okay, maybe the ending, it's not giving what we wanted, it's kind of being harmful, or it is just straight up being harmful. But like, it was the 70s, like maybe, you know, this person who made this movie isn't educated. I don't know, like, we could have made some excuses if the movie was good enough to make excuses, but it's not, so no excuses are going to be made. Not that we should make excuses for them anyway, okay? So yeah, Who Saw Her Die, definitely a skip. I would definitely just say it's straight up a skip, because it's just not, it's harmful. I don't condone it. I didn't like it, and I thought that it could have been so much better. Like, it could have been better, okay? All right, next, it looks like we have All the Colors of the Dark. This is also from 1972, and this one's directed by Sergio Martino. I don't know when I'm gonna watch it, because like I said, it's my birthday and I have like things to do today that I want to do, and I definitely want to keep watching these movies, so I could see myself staying up to watch it, but I don't know. I'll catch you back with the next update, as always. Ooh, and we are past the halfway point. We have gone through 7 films and we have 6 left to go. All right, see you soon. I'm obsessed with this look of putting the false lashes on the lower lash line. She's so beautiful. Absolutely obsessed with this shot right here. And this one. Just this whole movie. Okay, I just watched one of the best of this whole collection, I swear to you. I just watched All the Colors of the Dark. This is directed by Sergio Martino. The vibes were immaculate. Okay, it was taking me back to Black and Lovelace. Wait, what's that called? Blood and Black Lace, which was the first movie in this, kind of like the pioneer of giallo films, and my personal favorite so far. But All the Colors of the Dark, it was like dreamy and like sophisticated, like a little beautiful, but also like what we're dealing with is not fun, and it's very scary at the same time. Like, it was very, very effective. So we have this girl who she got in a bad car accident and suffered a miscarriage, and she's been kind of like haunted ever since this car accident. She keeps having really bad nightmares, and she tells her friend about it, and her friend is like, hey, why don't you come to this support group with me, and maybe you can like, maybe they'll fix your dreams, maybe they'll make your dreams different or better or something like that. And so she agrees to go to this therapy session. It's not therapy, it's a demonic cult, okay? It's a devil's cult. It's very creepy, and there are a lot of like blood rituals, like it gets pretty hard, okay? They go pretty hard in it. And so she visits, she attends a session, and she becomes a member basically. But since then, her dreams are getting like worse. Like, no longer is she dreaming about the car accident or the baby that she lost, but now she's dreaming about like satanic things and like lots of blood orgies. Like, it was just very, there was a lot that happened, okay? This has my favorite cinematography by far. Like, there's a scene in the end, oh my god, she's at a hospital. I just like, I was jaw on the floor, very scared. It was just really creepy. It was really, really cool. I don't want to spoil it for you, of course, but she's trying to escape the cult. She goes to the hospital to get better. It's just like, ugh, it really, really spooked me, okay? Really, really, I keep saying really. Definitely one of my faves from this whole challenge. I would say like top 2, not the first. I still think that Blood and Black Lace, that one's just so classically gorgeous, and just the spooky vibes of it all, the red telephone, like I will never get over the cinematography for that one, but the cinematography for All the Colors of the Dark blew me out of the water just as well. Edwidge Fenwick, I believe that's how you say her name. She is the main character in this. Gorgeous, one of the most beautiful women I've ever seen in my life. This also introduced the classic makeup style that I love, where the women would put false lashes on the top line and then also on the bottom line, so it's like they have a full lash on. I love the look so much, and she's just so gorgeous. Like literally just staring at her face was a treat in of itself with this movie. She's also, I had to look her up because I was like, have I seen this beautiful woman in anything else? She's in Strip Nude for Your Killer, which is the next, it's like 4 down. Like I still have 3 more movies to go before I get to that one, but she's also the main character in that one, so I'm very excited to revisit her. Anything else I want to say about All the Colors of the Dark? I thought that it was just one of the best, like very effective, very scary, good, not really a mystery. I wouldn't say it was very mysterious. It's more just like culty, okay? And I really enjoy reading, watching about cults, okay? That's definitely one of my niches. So what I have next is Torso from Sergio Martino. I read the synopsis on Letterboxd. It's of course right up here for you to read too. It sounds really interesting. I'm really excited to get into it, and like the few photos that I've seen from it, it's just like interesting me. I don't know, I have high hopes for it. We'll see. I'm gonna go watch it and let you know. Look at this absolute diva in her belt buckle. Absolutely insane. I'm so obsessed with her. Literally just stared at her this whole scene. Okay, my phone's at 4%. Let's see if I can film this real fast. So I finished Torso. Really good, really enjoyed it. The first hour, the first 2/3 of it, super fun. I love the build up. The mystery is like super fun to try to figure out. I couldn't film a lot because there's a lot of nudity in this one. Our main girl is Susie Kendall, who was the lead in The Bird with the Crystal Plumage, which we saw earlier, of course. So there's a serial killer on the loose. He's killing women. He's dismembering their bodies so that they just have a torso, hence the title, of course. This girl, who's Susie Kendall's character, and her group of friends go to like this mountain on top of a hill. It's like for a girls' night, and he comes to terrorize them basically. He's been like killing girls throughout the movie as well, and everyone in the little Italian village is like trying to figure out who it is, right? So like you're putting the clues together, the girls are like living their life, trying to put the clues together as well, and then at the end they go for this like girls' night. Really gorgeous art design. There's a lesbian love scene that could have gone like super exploitatively, but I thought that it was shot just like so beautifully. It was romantic and cutesy, and like that's just what I'm talking about. The art design was so good, the way that everything was planned out and shot. I really liked it for this movie. Yeah, in the end I thought that the third act could have been so much better, the final third of the movie. I just was really disappointed, and I felt like it lacked because we had such a good build up. It wasn't the ending that I wanted. That's just my, that's my final thought on it. Wish it could have been better, but that's okay. Next, I have What Have They Done to Your Daughters? This is from 1974, so we're moving up another year. And this is directed by Massimo Dallamano. So that's next. So All the Colors of the Dark has both versions, Italian and an English dubbed, and I watched the English dubbed one because I could tell that the actors were speaking English as well. So I don't know if like they put an Italian dub over for the Italian one, or if it, I don't know. I didn't even try to look at it. I just clicked on the English dub to see how it was, and it was like they were speaking English with the English dub on top. And so I'm gonna see if this one is the same. If it's not, if it's like clear that they're speaking Italian, then I'll watch the Italian one. Sick shot. This is so funny.
I say, go yourself.
They censored
But I
that.
second that.
Oh my god, that was literally the end of the movie. That's how they ended the movie, with him telling them to go F themselves. Oh my god, that's so funny. Hi. I think I've changed my shirt 3 or 4 times today. It's okay, I've had a lot to do, a lot of costume changes were involved, but I'm here to report that I finished What Have They Done with Your Daughters? Oh no, it's What Have They Done to Your Daughters, directed by Massimo Dallamano. This one is tough, like I won't lie. The subject matter is very rough. It's basically like an expose on men who take advantage of young girls and who sexually assault them. That's like the basis of the movie. Okay, we open up with a 14-year-old girl who has been, and she's nude, and it's like a very weird crime. We get a female assistant district attorney on the case, as well as, I I don't know what he is. Is he a police officer, an investigator, something like that? The male character. They're like on the case, and they're there to uncover that a lot of people within the community are basically like not taking care of the girls. Like, what have they done to your daughters is the overall theme of the whole movie, more so than a title like ever could be, because it's literally like everyone in this political scheme, teachers, psychiatrists, all of them have failed the girls and the teenage girls of this village, of this city, okay? And I really like the main character of the assistant district attorney. I don't remember her name, but I didn't have a lot of notes with this one either because I didn't love it. It was very, I was just kind of watching it and like, okay, like cool chase scene here. There's a lot of girls getting murdered over here. You know, it wasn't like the most enjoyable to watch for like the mystery factor or anything like that. It was more just like a gut punch, you know, like heart wrenching, like, oh, I can't believe all this bad stuff is happening to all these girls and like the whole community is failing them kind of vibe. So I definitely wouldn't say it's my favorite. I did like the main character of the assistant district attorney, and that's all I have to say about it. So next I have Deep Red. This is from 1975 and it's directed by Dario Argento. I have seen this movie before, and full transparency, I actually have already started the rewatch for this video because I was a little too excited and I didn't feel like getting up to film, so I just like went right into Deep Red. I'm halfway through, I have another hour to go, and it's so good. It's better than I even remembered it being. I'm really excited to see how it ends because I don't remember my first watch of it. I gave it like a 3.5 the first time I watched it because it didn't click with me. I was just kind of watching it, I was like, okay, like I really was very ignorant to the fact of what like giallo movies were and like how cool they could be, and I didn't let myself get like fully immersed in the story. But this time I really am. Like, it's been really fun to watch this collection because you just appreciate the genre so much more as you go along and you get into the more popular movies. So anyway, yeah, Deep Red is really good. I'm really enjoying it. One thing that I want to mention, because I feel like that I've talked about this with a lot of, like this whole video I've talked about it, I mentioned it, is like the language is so interesting because for like the first 3 movies, okay, because I went in order of like release date, so the earliest movies first, the later movies last, right? I feel like the first 3 movies, it was spoken in English, but then dubbed over with another English actor because it was Italian actors speaking English, and the Italian cinema production company, all of them, they didn't want to have bad English speaking people to say the lines, I guess. So they had people who speak English better to do the dub. And then we went to like 3 movies after that were purely in Italian. They spoke Italian and it was subtitled in English, okay? And then I feel like for these last 3 movies that I've watched, they have been speaking English. Like I can read their lips and they are speaking English, but then the dub is Italian. It's so weird. Like it's just like blowing my mind. I really need to do some research on it and then like report back to you about like why it's not consistent. It's not consistent with the, oh, we want to do it in English so that American people will watch it and we will be like eligible for the awards, and also so that we can have a wider range of audience to appreciate this movie because not everyone wants to read subtitles kind of thing. And then there were a couple of Italian movies because it was like, screw it, like we're Italian, we're gonna do these movies in our language. And now it's like they're speaking English, like I can see their mouths moving, but the dub that we were given is in Italian. It's just weird. It's really, really interesting. Deep Red is the same way. And then we have 2 more movies after Deep Red. We have Strip Nude for Your Killer and Tenebre, or is it Tenebre? I don't know, but that one's also by Dario Argento, and that is going to be a rewatch as well, and I'm really excited for it. But yeah, I'm gonna go finish Deep Red and then I will catch you back with the next update. Y'all ready for the greatest entrance of all time? She's so cool, girl.
Per favore, segnati il nome. Si chiama Amanda. Me lo scrivo.
Okay, I finished Deep Red and oh my god, what an amazing rewatch. Okay, when I first watched it, I give it 3 stars. I was like, it's good, but it wasn't scary enough. Girl, Literally, I'm so glad I've been watching this whole collection because it has put giallo just as a genre into a completely different perspective for me. Really, I'm really glad I've done this, okay? I'm really glad that you guys chose this collection for me to watch because it's been a blessing in disguise, okay? So let's get into Deep Red. So what happens is there is a man, I don't remember his name, okay? I only remember the girl's name. Her name is Gianna. But he witnesses a murder. He's like out one night, his friend is like drunk, and he's like just kind of like taking care of the friend, like, you know, hanging out with him, not drinking as much as him, but so he's like not as drunk, but he's just like chilling. He like looks up and he sees a woman get murdered, and he runs to the house. What had happened was her head had been pushed through the window, so like her neck is like on the glass. So he like helps her and puts her down, calls the police, and the police like question him and everything. And he's like noticing that first he ran through the house, right, to help the girl, and then when the police show up, they're kind of like taking a tour around the house with him while he's telling his story, and he's like realizing that things around the house aren't what they were when he first ran through. So he's like, things seem moved, like it seems weird in here, I don't know what's going on, like maybe I'm just imagining things because of everything that's happened. But we go on this whole mystery because he wants to find out who killed this girl, right? It's just like such a weird mystery to him. Oh, another thing that's crazy is that when he takes the girl off the glass, he's like looking out the window and he sees a masked man with like a coat and like gloves and everything like running away. Like, so he's assuming that's the murder. He's like, I saw him get away and he ran that way and, you know, yada yada, okay? Enter in the woman of the hour, my favorite character, Gianna, okay? She is a reporter. She shows up to the scene of the crime. She's like, hey, didn't you guys like need a reporter? Like, that's what I'm here for. I'm here to report the news, what's happened, what's going on. She, you know, enters into a friendship with this guy, and he like doesn't seem interested in her, but she's very much interested in him. Like, she's a big flirt, okay? I really, really liked her character. I thought that she was extremely confident, so sure of herself, very cool girl vibes, but like not in a cringy only for the males kind of way. Like, she just was herself, and it was like a cool character to look up to in a way. So we just kind of go about the story. The murderer is kind of messing with him and Gianna the whole time. They're trying to find out the mystery, and the guy, he basically decides like 2/3 of the way through the movie, he's like, I gotta get back in the house, okay? The house has been like closed down for police investigation, but he's like, I gotta get in the house, okay? He knows that the answer to the mystery is in the house because he remembers that the house looked somewhat different the second time he looked through it, right? So he breaks into the house, and the whole third act is literally him just kind of deconstructing the house, demolishing the house. He like goes into the basement's super flooded, like it's kind of falling apart. The whole third act is just the house, okay? He's in the house and he's finding out clues within the house. It ends up being a really, really good story, okay? I think that there's a little betrayal in there. There's a little bit of a twist. I was surprised. I was not expecting the killer to be who the killer was. Like, didn't even think about it. Like, didn't even like cross my mind when we first are introduced to this character or the other times that we see them, okay? I was shook. I really, really liked it. They really gagged me with this one. So it's really cool how in these movies they tend to like reuse actors and actresses. Maybe they just have that look, like they have that creepy mystery horror vibe. Nicoletta Elmi, she was the little redhead girl in Who Saw Her Die. She makes a reappearance in this movie. She has like a smaller role, but she was in it, and she's got a really cool look. I'll put up a picture of her, of course, because she's just like she's freaky, you know, she's a little scary looking. What else do I want to say about Deep Red? I thought that it was the best directed of all the movies so far. Like, it was just like a story on composition, like a masterclass in how to like set up a scene. I would look to this movie if I was interested in making a movie, because I thought that just the direction of it was so gorgeous. Like, there's so many cool scenes in it, like where the characters are just talking, but so much is going on around them, or they're like yelling across the way. It's just like, oh, it was just, I can't put it into words. I really, really enjoyed Deep Red. It bumped my star rating up a whole star, a whole letter, a whole number, because I really enjoyed it, okay? Next we have Strip Nude for Your Killer from 1975. This is directed by Andrea Bianchi. Andrea Bianchi. Yeah, something like that. Definitely an interesting title. I haven't read the synopsis myself, so I'm going in a little blind. You can obviously read it here. Yeah, what do I have to say? We have 2 more movies to go. This is the final movie that I haven't seen, because next we have Tenebre, which I have seen before. So this will be the final, like, first time watch. And yeah, I'm gonna get right into it. Edwidge Fenwick is in this movie. I forgot. Oh my gosh, I love her. She's so gorgeous. Okay, I finished Strip Nude for Your Killer. Garbage. Honestly, it was the trashiest and the sleaziest yet, and not in a good way at all. I was severely disappointed. I think that the story was very confusing. The mystery was like, there was no mystery, and I honestly definitely figured it out early on because there were only like 3 people in this cast. So yeah, I honestly have nothing. I literally don't even know how to tell you what happened. Like, a girl dies during a medical exam that we don't even like find out what it is. Maybe, I don't remember. I swear, it's so late and I barely remember this movie. It was so bad. Yeah, okay, I literally just had to look up the synopsis because I was not going to be able to tell you this honestly. So basically there's like this model agency and the models are kind of being killed off one by one, and it all starts with this one model who died under the care of a doctor, and he had started to like stage her death, and then the killer killed him and then killed other models in the process. Literally, like, it made no sense. Like, I couldn't tell you. The pacing of it was bad. Literally the only cool part is at the end, the black leather clad hand of the killer that we see. That's the only POV of the killers that we see in these movies. There's like a suit of armor in the house, and the killer picks up the sword from the suit of armor and like fights the guy, and that was like fun and cool. But that was the only good part. Honestly, I really didn't like this movie at all. I gave it 1 star, the worst out of the whole series. But we're on the final one. It is, I don't know if it's Tenebre or Tenebre, but it's from 1982. I almost said 1975. It's from 1982, which is 7 years after the last one we just watched. So we're taking a huge time jump here. And this one is by Dario Argento, of course. This is the final in his trilogy that he did, I believe, and I've seen it before, but I have very little memory of it. I'm very excited to rewatch the shots because I think that some of them will come back to me because I know it's a very iconically looking movie. But anyway, yeah, so I'm gonna go finish the final film in this challenge and I'll get back with you. Okay, one thing this movie from the 80s has going for it is this amazing 1980s Italian soundtrack. Let's go. Such a gorgeous color scheme, such a gorgeous score, gorgeous movie. I'm so obsessed with this girl. Her look and everything. Maybe it's just the hair. I'm just obsessed with her. I did it. I finished Tenebre, which is the correct way to pronounce it. Tenebre. Okay, this is probably like stylistically, critically, maybe the best out of the series. I don't think it necessarily is my favorite, but as far as like how good a movie can be made, like how well a movie can be made, definitely I think that this one takes the cake. So we start off with Paul Neal, or is it Peter Neal? Paul Neal. He is an author and he recently wrote a book called Tenebre, and he has gotten flack before for writing these murder mysteries where, you know, the victims are always a woman and it seems like these murderers just like go after women, and he's been getting a lot of flack for that and like the controversy space, critic space. And it's kind of funny because I was reading up on it and people were saying that this is kind of like Dario Argento's ode to his own work, because a lot of people were saying the same thing about him. They're like, oh, you just love to put women in bad situations and murder them, like this is you just trying to be a murderer underneath it all. Like, I don't know, like taking his work too seriously, thinking that like he actually like enjoys the murder aspect of it. I don't know like how dark it can be, but instead he's like, no, like I'm good at writing a mystery, like you all hate to see me win. So it's kind of like a self-insert, I would say. Peter Neal is kind of self-insert for Dario Argento, and I thought that that was really fun because I love a self-insert. Okay, I think that it's really funny when authors and filmmakers do that, and sometimes they can do it really well and sometimes they do it really awfully. So I thought that this one was definitely good, especially with like the twist at the end. We found out who becomes the killer, and it was just like, it was really enjoyable, honestly, and very unique to the experience of these other movies that I've watched in this collection. Okay, so basically this author wrote this book, Tenebre. It's another murder mystery, and he's in Rome to promote the book. Along the way, someone gets killed, like someone in his hotel room or someone at the hotel gets killed, and his bag also gets switched out. Like a bunch of weird things happen. Along with the murder victim, there was like a scrap of paper that was parts of the book, like parts of Tenebre had been ripped out. I don't remember if they were like shoved in her mouth or like where the pages were, but they were around the body somewhere. And the police were like, oh my gosh, this is Peter Neal's book, like he's in town, like what, like maybe he knows something, because it seems like the killer is trying to connect the two together, right? He gets a phone call where someone is like, you know, heavy breathing on the other end while the police are there, and they're like, oh, I love your book and I'm gonna come get you. Like, they're trying to be really hard and like scary, but it comes off a little silly. He also gets lots of letters that are sent to him where like pages of his books are like ripped out, or pages from Tenebre are ripped out and like put in to create other sentences, you know, like the serial killer lettering and all that. So it's just like this murder is like killing all these women around him, and it's like in the style of ways that people would be killed in his books, but also the killer is like leaving clues that have to do with his books, right? So the police are just like, why are you so why do you seem to be so involved with this case? Like, this guy's obviously after you, so we're gonna keep an eye on you because maybe the killer will come after you or someone you're close to, and then we can like figure this out, right? So there's like a lot of people trying to figure out the murder. There's his assistant, his ex-wife even shows up, investigators, there's just a lot of people, okay? And then we get to the end, which was so satisfying and so cool and so stylish, okay? Like literally the most insanely bloody kills of all time happened in this movie. I wish I could film them and show them on here, but I think that it's too violent for YouTube, and I don't think that they would appreciate it much. But just like seriously, go watch this movie if you want a good bloody time, because I loved it. I will say also the synth score deserved awards, okay? I felt like I was a teenager living in 1980s Italy. It was everything I've ever wanted. I love synths, I love synthesizers, I love scores like that, and it just totally, I ate it up. I really liked it. I think the only way that I want to end this video out is that I would love to give out some awards. So I thought up a couple categories, and I'm going to assign a movie for the category. Okay, so the categories we have are Best Mystery, we have Darkest Themes, we have My Fave, we have My Least Fave, and then we have the Best Murder Weapon. So that's 5 categories out of 13 films. So I have decided to give Best Mystery to Deep Red. I think that Tenebre definitely gave it a run for its money just because of who the killer ends up being. But Deep Red does such a good job of being like a mature giallo film. You know what I mean? Like there could be, you could look at these others and be like, oh, these are kiddie, these are funny. Like there's the POV of the killer like coming to kill everyone. But here we literally just follow the main character the whole time, and he's trying to figure out the mystery. So we hardly ever see the killer's POV, or when we do, it's so pushed to the side. Like we literally don't figure it out. I mean, maybe you did, like maybe you are smarter than me and you watched Deep Red for the first time and you're like, oh, obviously this person's the killer. Like maybe you could figure that out better than I could. I could not, okay? When they revealed who the killer is, I was gagged, I was gooped. I could not believe who it was. It took me by surprise, and it's so cool because the reason I like the mystery so much is because the movie really centers around the house where the murder happened, right? So this guy, he sees a girl, she gets pushed out a window and her head is like on the glass and she's dead, okay? He goes through the house to like go to save her, and then he calls the police, and when he's walking back through the house with the police while he's like recanting what he saw, he's like, is this house different? Like, did you guys move things around? And each time he goes back into the house, which the whole third act is literally him tearing the house apart, trying to find out why it looks so different to him. And I think that it was just such a cool way to make the mystery happen. Like the mystery was within the house. Like, why does the house look different? So it's not just who did this killing, and it's just one murder if I'm remembering right. Maybe I'm misremembering that, but I don't remember it being like a slew of murders like these other movies were. So I thought that the mystery was really cool because they kept it simple, but then they also involved the house around it. And so that's why Deep Red wins Best Mystery. Darkest themes. Oh, I know exactly which one this will be. Don't Torture a Duckling had very dark themes, okay? It dealt with pedophiles and the Catholic Church. I do think, however, I'm gonna have to give this one to In the Folds of the Flesh, because definitely, I mean, it's hard to say like, oh, this theme was darker than this theme. Like, they're all bad, right? They're all bad things, okay? Things that we don't want to ever deal with. So this movie has lots of grave digging. It deals with, it was just very disturbing overall. There's like one character who was alive during the Holocaust, and her family was put into the gas chamber, and we see like flashbacks of that happening where she's like literally watching her family die in the chamber. Okay, like, definitely was not expecting that in a 1970s Italian murder mystery movie. So I would definitely say that In the Folds of the Flesh has the darkest themes, because it has the most of the darkest themes. Like, it's not just one really dark theme like how Don't Torture a Duckling had. This one had like multiple, and yeah, it was insane to watch. Okay, I'm gonna mention two faves, and I think I already mentioned these anyway. So Blood and Black Lace, like, this was the mother of all giallo films. Like, you can argue with me all you want. Maybe there's one that came out before that I didn't watch, and so I have no idea about it. But Blood and Black Lace, gorgeous and so fun. Like, exactly what a murder mystery should be. Like, literally, we have a point in the movie where the girl who was killed, her diary gets procured, is that how you say that? And everyone, like, we see everyone within the modeling agency turn their head. Okay, they like, it's like a shot of all of them, and that there shows that they all could have been complicit in the murder. And so it's like you're starting off with such a large pool of people already who are proving that they are suspicious. It's not like we could take every character and be like, okay, maybe it's every character. It's like everyone is turning their head, proving that any one of these characters could be the murderer. Okay, I thought that the reveal of who was doing the murders was very interesting, and like, it was like a great shockful way to start off the genre as well. So I really like it. There's like bookshelves that open up hidden passageways. There's lots of really beautiful lighting. Like, I love the soft purple light on people's face that we see a lot of the time. There's great props like that. I've talked about like 3 times already, but that red telephone is gorgeous. I mean, just what a moment, right, to pick up that telephone. I mean, they knew what they were doing when they made that movie. Okay, and then I would say that my second favorite, or the one that's tied with it, would be All the Colors of the Dark. Okay, I believe that this was the one that had to do with the demonic cult. Cults like will always interest me. I really like learning about them and reading about them and watching about them. I think it's just, I don't know, like, it's an interest of mine. But also this one is really cool because of the cinematography that surrounds it. Maybe I'm just in love with Edwidge Fenwick, like maybe that's all it is, and that's why this is my favorite. But I really liked the demise of her mind, right? Because she consulted the therapy of the cult to rid herself of nightmares she was having after she lost her child, and now she's being plagued by all these other new nightmares that have to do with the demonic cult. And it's just like, I really liked it. So I would definitely say that those two are my fave. My least fave, oh, this will be really easy. I didn't even write anything down for it because that's how much I disliked it, but it would be Strip Nude for Your Killer. It was garbage. I hated every character in it. Every man in it was insufferable. Like, the worst kind of perverse, commanding, demanding, controlling male figure. Like, they all were like that. There was no good man that was like enjoyable at all to watch, and then none of the women were strong or resilient or like even just charming in any way. They all just abided by whatever the man wanted. And then I don't even remember the murder. Like, I don't remember the mystery. I know that the first like 45 minutes of the movie, it's a bunch of models getting naked and getting photographed. So it was definitely just like softcore porn, if you want to say that. And then at the end they were like, oh, let's throw this mystery, like we forgot that we're doing a giallo film, like we got to put this mystery in here real fast. And then they just threw it in, and it was like, okay, like I could not give you a synopsis of what happened after all of the nude modeling scenes because it was just so lost. So yeah, that was definitely the least favorite. And then the final category we have is best murder weapon, which will go to Death Walks at Midnight. Because up until this point, except for a brief moment in Blood and Black Lace, the only murder weapons have been knives. Maybe a gun, maybe here or there a gun, but knives, like knives in the back of someone, okay? Or knife like to the stomach, you know? But in Death Walks at Midnight, the only murder weapon that we see, well, I would say there are knives in this one too, but the main murder weapon is a spiked glove. And I thought that that was just really cool and interesting. It's literally just like this, and the spikes are there, and they're just like, you know, stabbing you like this. So I thought that that was really cool. Something else that I really want to mention that is consistent in every one of these movies, which I really thought was so cool, is the killer POV. Okay, I love seeing the black hand, the black gloved hand with the knife, like walking through a corridor, and the whole time we're like, oh my gosh, who is this? Is this a woman? Is this the person we thought was good? Is this the man? Is this the ex-boyfriend? Is this someone we haven't even seen yet? And all we are privy to is this gloved hand, you know, walking through a hallway or stabbing someone. That's all we're seeing. And I found this on Reddit, which I thought was really interesting, about Dario Argento specifically. Someone said, I think I remember reading that Argento found it easier to do it himself, meaning he would be the one with the glove, rather than direct someone else to do it, because he wanted something specific, incredibly specific for each shot. So I thought that that was so cool. Like, he felt that it was easier to just do it himself because he had it in his mind. It would be easier to just do it himself than to direct someone else of, okay, hold your hand like this, now hold your hand like this, now do this. Like, he knew, he saw it in his head of what he wanted, and so he was the actor holding the glove with the knife. Whether the bad guy was supposed to be a man or a woman, it would be him in those shots. And I thought that's so cool. I love when directors like get into the movie like that. Definitely fun. Yeah, I think that is all I have to say about giallo horror. I definitely had a really fun time watching this Criterion collection. I hope that you have enjoyed this video, and if you have a subscription to the Criterion channel, check out some of these movies, see which ones tickle your fancy, or maybe watch all of them. Or if you have been watching them along with me while watching this video, thank you so much. I bet that was really fun for you. I know that this was a very fun video for me to watch and to film. You guys really ate with that choice selection. Thank you for everyone who voted in the poll. Be sure to like check out my page from time to time, because I will be posting more polls like going forward, definitely with other which Criterion collection do you want to watch definitely. I'll have one up for October as well, because the Criterion has so many good horror collections for October, and I'm really excited to watch one. So definitely go check out my channel after you're done watching this and go vote in that poll, because I should already have that poll set up of which Criterion collection you want me to watch in October. And I'll make another one of these videos, and it'll be super fun. So yeah, I think that's the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate your support. If you've made it this far, thank you so much. Don't forget to give this video a like, consider subscribing if you haven't, and if you are a return viewer, thank you so much. I love you and I love your support, and I hope you have a really spooky season and a good October, and be safe. Mwah. Bye!